All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, after a pedestrian like performance in his debut with the San Francisco 49ers last week, things were much different today for running back Christian McCaffrey. Now, in the Niners' 31-14 win today on the road over the Los Angeles Rams, McCaffrey played like a man possessed as he threw for, caught, and rushed for a touchdown in the win. You're talking about C-Mac had 94 yards on the ground on 18 carries with a rushing touchdown, 8 catches for 55 yards, and a rushing and a receiving touchdown, and then a 34-yard touchdown pass to Brandon Ayuk. And this is scary because you look at this San Francisco 49ers team, and I said it at the time that they got McCaffrey from the Carolina Panthers, and I'm going to stick by this. This team is going to be so dangerous when they get healthy because they did not have Debo Samuel today. So you're going to talk about a situation where Kyle Shanahan is going to have the ability to have packages where Christian McCaffrey, Debo Samuel, George Kittle, and Brandon Ayuk are all going to be on the field at the same time. Good luck to opposing defenses because the bottom line is who do you double? Because all of those guys that I mentioned, they're all great in space. They all have speed. They also all accelerate real well. And they are going to be matchup nightmares for opposing defenses. Now, after trailing the Rams today 14-10 at the intermission, the Niners really turned it up another level. It was a Christian McCaffrey show in the second half offensively. And then we saw this defense really put the clamps on the Rams offense. Now, we know already that the Rams cannot run the football, and the Niners did not feel sorry for them today as they limited Los Angeles to just 56 yards on the ground. We saw Fred Warner have 12 big tackles with a sack, and then Nick Bosa had a sack today as well, as they basically put it on Rams quarterback Matt Stafford in his passing game to beat them. And you're talking about they can't run the football. They have offensive line issues. That's a recipe for disaster if you're the Rams. And then, of course, if you're the San Francisco defense led by defensive coordinator D'Amico Ryans, you're definitely licking your chops. Now, San Francisco's dominance in the regular season over the Rams continues. Obviously, if you're the 49ers, you're still haunted by what went down this past January in the NFC Championship game. But nonetheless, you got to feel good about yourselves if you're the Niners after you got this big win today on the road, if you want to call it that, at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood. Now, for San Francisco, they're heading into their bye, but everything is in front of this team in regards to winning the NFC West. I mean, you've already gone out there, you've swept the Rams, you've beaten Seattle in your one contest with them. You got two games coming up against Arizona. You finish the season at home against Arizona, and then you have the rematch with the first place Seattle Seahawks. But I look at this 49ers team, and I think they are built for the second half of the season. They're also built for the postseason. Why? Because they run the football well. They have a nastiness about them on their offensive line. They go out there and establish things, and then they have a get after on defense, as it doesn't matter who is plugged out there. They know how to rush the passer. And of course, San Francisco's ability to rush the passer really opens things up and really helps their secondary, and actually becomes a fifth guy back there in their secondary due to their ability to go out there and rush the passer, and put pressure on opposing quarterbacks. So if you're John Lynch, the Niners general manager, you've given Kyle Shanahan another piece to work with. And I know that the 49ers, they really don't have any picks. They're basically going in the mode of the defending Super Bowl champion Los Angeles Rams. But at the end of the day, if you feel like you have an opportunity to win now and you say, you know what, I'm just going to push all of my chips and to the middle of the table and go for it, then you know what, you got to do it because that championship window is only so big in sports, especially in the National Football League, where you're just an injury away from like things really changing your season. But nonetheless, getting back to today, Christian McCaffrey, what can you say? It's a situation where guys play better when they have something to play for. And Christian McCaffrey, unfortunately, was getting lost in the shuffle with the Carolina Panthers. And now he's found a new lease on his football life, if you will. He's back in the Bay Area. Of course, he starred at Stanford as an all purpose back. Kyle Shanahan knows his family very well. Mike Shanahan, Kyle's dad, coached Christian's father, Ed. With the Denver Broncos. And then on top of that, Christian McCaffrey is just a dynamic playmaker. He was not surrounded with the amount of playmakers in Carolina that he's going to be with now in San Francisco. And I think that Kyle Shanahan is probably the best scheme caller that Christian McCaffrey has worked with during his brief NFL career. But when it's all said and done, I mean, just the thought of having him, Debo, Brandon Ayuk, and Kittle out there on the field at the same time. If you're Jimmy G at quarterback, you got to be salivating, especially playing behind this stout offensive line that's getting healthy as well. So I think the future is very bright for this San Francisco 49ers team. I'm really itching to see what they look like coming out of the break. They got their first game at home on Sunday night in week 10 out of the break against the Los Angeles Chargers. But nonetheless, I think this Niners team is ready to turn a corner, and I think they could do some damage in the second half and in the postseason come January. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. Now you can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin. I am signing off, saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.